Stakeholder.
In gambling, an independent party with whom each of those who make a wager deposits the money or counters wager.
A person with an interest or concern in something, especially a business.
In emergency management, any person or entity with a vested interest in the survival and recovery of a given community. You.
Welcome to Stakeholder Prepping.
Welcome back to Stakeholder Prepping, where you, yes, you, are the stakeholder in your own survival. We are your hosts. My name is Chris.
And I'm AC.
And AC, I am super excited about this episode. This is going to be an awesome one. 10 stocking stuffers under $10. We didn't really stick to the 10 items, but they are all under $10.
I was going to ask you what we were calling this, because originally it was 10 under 10 or something, but we got way more than 10. There's dozens of them here. So it is not 10, but we'll just call it that because it sounds kind of cool.
It sounds fancy. But you know what else is fancy?
What's that?
Brand new movies. And listeners, you still have 5 days remaining to get Homestead tickets for free to the premiere before it actually releases on December 20th. In most locations, it's only going to be playing for a week or two, so be sure to send us an email, stakeholderprepping@gmail.com, and you can get a code to redeem 2 completely free tickets entirely on us. All you have to do is send in some sort of, I shared this, I retweeted this, I forwarded this to a friend so they can get more prepared. And that's all you've got to do, and we will send you free tickets to Homestead. And that also, AC, that kind of reminds me, we have the website stakeholderprepping.com, and we have links to every episode on there. We actually have a brand new discount section all the way at the bottom of the page. They're discounts that we have gotten for the listeners. And you can go down to the bottom of the page, figure out where you want to go, and we'll have links right there. And a lot of them have the codes for discounts right next to them.
Yeah,
so,
that's right. Yeah, if we have secured at this point like a pretty decent amount of discounts, and there's actually a new cool one coming next week that we're not going to even talk about yet. So we've got some discounts that are exclusively for our listeners. And I think that's really cool. I mean, we're kind of new, but the people that have heard us have kind of latched on. And a couple of these companies we're going to talk about today, they're behind us, and they're giving us discounts specifically for our listeners. So yeah, on the website, we're creating a new little section now at the bottom below our blog. So if you scroll all the way down, you'll see the discounts. Some of them are just discount codes for certain websites, and some of them are click-through type links. Is that right?
Exactly. And I think this is going to be kind of one of those things that you can continually come back to if you need more in your preps, if you need a last minute gift, if you need to get a new blade, if you need, anything that we list out, you can get and make your money work harder for you, just like your HSA. But we're going to be dropping some pretty massive money-saving bombs in this episode. You do have to listen all the way to the end.
Yeah.
Or go all the way to the end of the website. But we do have some pretty big codes that we're going to be dropping this episode. And that's what this is all about. I mean, technically, this is the Christmas episode because that's right before Christmas, 10 days. Still gives you a little bit of shopping time, but not too much.
Right. We're preppers. Like we couldn't wait 3 days before Christmas. That wouldn't be very prepperish of us. So the preparedness mindset is 10 days before Christmas is basically Christmas. So yeah, this is the Christmas episode, and we're giving you time to go out and get some of those last minute gift ideas that we're gonna throw at you today.
And I will say, I have ordered a few of these items like 2 weeks ago, and they were here inside of 3 days. So the shipping is pretty quick, but you've got to be on top of it. So go use the codes, save yourself some money.
I like it.
You want to kick us off here?
I will. Yeah. So I think the best prepper gift in general is just a good knife. Knives Knives are the thing that people want. So I myself am a bit of a knife aficionado. I carry a pocket knife everywhere, and I do carry quite a few pretty expensive knives. I've kind of got a couple of Gucci pocket knives, but I went out and I bought a bunch of under $10 knives. And I'm not going to get into the metallurgy of it or anything for you. These are all metal blades, but just the practicality of some of these and what I liked, what I didn't like, what I look for in an inexpensive knife. So I'll talk a little bit about folding knives first, and then we can talk about a couple of fixed blade knives that I found. But if you hear something you like, this will be on our website. There will be a link, and you can go there and you can check it out. So for some of the inexpensive under $10 folding knives, Uzi is one that comes to mind. They have a couple of really cool under $10 knives. I went and bought two just recently on Sportsman's Guide. I don't know if they have an exclusivity with the Uzi brand, but I couldn't find these on Amazon. So if anybody's familiar with sportsmansguide.com, they're just an outdoor retailer, online retailer, but they do a pretty good job.
And you mean Uzi, like Uzi the submachine gun?
I mean, like Major Uziel Gal of the submachine gun. Yes, that's the namesake. So they do license that name out to a number of different goods. I think you and I, Chris, both have the Uzi tactical pen that has a little handcuff key in it. So yes, same Uzi, but they make a couple of spring-loaded assist knives with the Uzi brand. That's got some brand recognition, and they were under $10. So I thought it was a really decent knife for being under $10, for having a pocket clip and having a spring assist. I really liked it. That's a really solid, good folding knife. Now, if you're into the traditional pocket knife, like the old school, not a pocket clip, like the kind of one that your grandpa used to like take apples apart and then eat them right off the blade with, like that
the
kind
wood
of knife.
handle with the brass.
The brass hardware, right? That kind of knife. Imperial Knives is one I would recommend, and they do have a couple of models under $10, just a standard folding knife. Imperial is like an old school brand, and I think they're owned now by Schrade, because a lot of the ones you'll see on Amazon that say Schrade Imperial. Schrade also a good kind of more tactical knife, but those were both bought by Bittenfield brands, and then Bittenfield I think was eaten up by American Outdoor Companies, which you may know them by their other name, Smith & Wesson Corporation. So
Gotcha.
S&W, when they bought up a bunch of brands, they turned in American Outdoors Companies or American Outdoors Network or something. But so it's owned by those brands. But I really do like Imperial. Whenever I see like an old guy eating an apple and taking it apart with a knife and just eating it off the blade, I look at that and I go, that's why we won the fucking war right there, that guy. So if you want to be that guy, an Imperial knife is the knife you use. And again, like under $10. So not bad for a knife with some actual brand recognition. Now, all that being said, if you were buying a pocket knife for someone who is a pocket knife aficionado like me, let's be real, they're probably not going to carry your $10 knife. If someone is a connoisseur of the fine pocket knife like I am, and you've got a collection of a dozen different $300 and $400 Benchmades to choose from as your daily carry, then that person probably isn't going to carry your $10 fold, right?
I know a couple of those people. They're going to carry the one that fits their outfit more so than the one that you gave them, but that's okay.
They're going to carry the Gucci knife, but all is not lost. If you want to buy a knife for someone who is that kind of person, there are still some options. And I don't know if you've seen these kind of folding pocket knives that use a standard utility blade, like an off-the-shelf razor blade. There's a couple of these out there. There's actually an Amazon brand, like an Amazon Basics brand, that is this standard folding utility knife that takes a replaceable razor blade. And there's just a ton of utility in having a knife like that. So there's a few different options. And I mean, shit, even the Gerber branded one is under $13. And I think the Coast Cutlery brand one is under $12. So if you're looking for the pocket knife for $10 for someone who is a $300 or $400 pocket knife person, that there's still utility in having that knife. It's a different class of knife. Now, my go-to, I'm not kidding. Like I said, I've got a collection of pocket knives that could send a kid through college. But my go-to is an Edge Outdoors slide winder.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, it's the slide winder, right? And the slide winder is kind of hard to say, but yeah, they're made by Edge Outdoors. They have them in black and in orange, like a safety orange. And it's a very cool little knife. It's this kind of utility blade knife like that with a replaceable razor blade. So common off the shelf razor blades that you can pop into this thing. So just like the opening one, or the fold open one I was talking about earlier, but it has on it a flathead screwdriver, a Phillips, and a bottle opener, and then this sliding replaceable razor blade. Now, like we talked about a minute ago, I've got a pretty stupid collection of expensive pocket knives, but this is my go-to around the homestead. This one, it's got a little pocket clip. For like 90% of what I'm doing around the homestead is either tightening an impromptu loose screw, opening an Amazon box, or opening a beer.
Priorities.
I'm telling you, this is my go-to knife. It's the craziest thing. This $10 knife, if I'm not leaving the homestead and I know what I'm going to be doing that day is probably breaking down boxes and putting them in the burn pile and opening bottles, this is my go-to knife. That's the one I use.
That's actually my my hunting knife. My game knife is one that takes replaceable blades. It's not the normal utility blades. It takes number 13 scalpel blades.
Oh, sure.
But
Yeah.
it's a folder that when that blade gets dull, I'm not worried about it. I just pull one out of the pack, replace it, and go on getting.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So this little Edge Outdoors knife, the slide winder, it literally is my go-to. And so if you want to buy a knife under $10 for someone who is that crazy nice pocket knife person, this thing has so much utility. And like you said, where you don't want to use your big fancy knife, you just want to use this little blade that you can dole up and throw it away when you dull it and put another one in there. These are awesome. So that's probably my recommendation for a very good all-around utility knife. So those are the folders. Now let's talk about some fixed blade stuff. Because we're getting close to Christmas, I only looked really at Amazon brand fixed blade knives. So there's a couple of brands I'll recommend that I'm literally looking at them all right here. These are knives I bought, and I kind of put them through the paces. I played with them a little bit. I said, yep, I would recommend these. Now, the brands, sidebar. Chris, do you know how to tell if a company is Chinese?
I don't. I've been tricked a few times.
If it has USA in the title, it's almost exclusively a Chinese company. It's like, so this company, a couple of them, but the one MTech US, I just think it's like, MTech USA, like they're going to fool you. You know what I mean? So it's, like Cowboy Astronaut Baseball Corporation. But anyway, so MTech USA, they've got a couple of good options. I'll post a link to them. But if you look at just put in Amazon, MTech, like Mike, Tango, Echo, Charlie, Hotel, MTech USA. They've got a couple of fixed blade knives. One I really liked, it's like this 8-inch kind of overall drop point with a black blade. And it's funny, it's actually a decent knife, but the handle is pink on the $8 version of the knife. They sell the exact same knife with a black handle for $13. So this Chinese marketing firm they hired didn't quite understand the knife buying demographic in the United States, I guess. So they had to severely discount the pink one. But if you're okay with the pink handle for $8, I'm very impressed with this. A couple things I didn't like. It has just a nylon sheath. I really prefer a hard sheath. But if it's one that's going to go in your pack, nylon's fine. And it has the handle material, it's not like G10, it's like kind of a slicker plastic, but it has finger grooves in it. So I couldn't get my hand to slip off, but I could see if it was wet, I could see how that could happen. So this one I really liked. If you look at this pink handle MTech, for $8, it was actually a very cool knife. The other one I liked, it's made by Master USA. Again, Master USA, obviously a USA company, right? But they make a
I'm
they make
loving this.
they make a skeleton knife, right? So this is a knife with the handle is just a single piece of full tang metal, and the handle you can wrap them in paracord. A lot of people do that, but it's a skeleton knife. This thing's about 7 inches long. It's a pretty solid knife for the money, and it is the spitting image of like the SE Azula or the K-Bar Becker knife. It's a
Okay.
spitting image of either one of those $70 knives. I bet it's very similar. I'm not going to say that it's the same quality as a K-Bar, but it is the spitting image of that SE and that K-Bar, same kind of thing. So I really liked that knife. And you could wrap the handle in like a 550 cord and make it a little more utilitarian, a little more preppery. And then one other brand to look at, I can't pronounce it. I don't know if you can, but it's I think it's Canku, but it's CCANKU. And they have some pretty more expensive knives, more than $10 knives. But the one I really liked, it's called their C1146. This thing is tiny, and it's designed to be a neck knife. So it's about 3 inches long. It's got a Kydex-y style sheath. It's probably is hard plastic, but it looks Kydex. And it's got kind of a faux G10 handle. It comes in 6 different colors. And I really like this. The neck knives, Chris, I don't know if you've looked at most of these neck knives, they're kind of riveted together. And so they usually have 4 rivets in the sheath. And the idea is that you would hang it by the handle around your neck on the same kind of chain you'd wear dog tags on. If you pull hard enough, that knife comes out. But one of the kind of gray man hacks that a lot of people do is in those 4 rivety holes on that knife, because these are small, you can take a neck knife and you can lace it into your boots, which I think is really cool. You've probably seen this, right?
That's what I do. I actually, on my Go Bag boots, I have a specific set of boots that is my Go boots.
Yep.
And I've got a karambit that's locked into the laces on it.
Exactly. So most of these neck knives, if you look at any of these neck knives with a hard plastic sheath, the sheath itself usually is just a single passive retention, meaning that the knife just sort of sticks in there, and if you pull hard enough, it comes out, but it's made to hang upside down. So you could lace these things using the 4 holes provided in that sheath. Generally speaking, most of those neck knives can be laced into your boot too, so it's kind of dual purpose. And I do that exact same thing on my like hiking and Go Bag boots. I can lace in one of these, and then it's very easy to access. If you happen to be crouched down, if you're in a fight, if you're in that fetal position, you have very easy access to this knife that's laced into your boots. So I just think it's a very cool dual purpose thing. I don't personally like the neck knife. These neck knives do have that dual utility. So that's kind of it for knives.
And I do have a titanium dive knife that I have it very similar construction to the neck knife sheath, but it's significantly larger. It's designed for diving. And it's all titanium, so I'm not going to get a spark off of it if I have to, start a fire or anything like that.
It doesn't sound like it's a $10 knife.
It is definitely not. It lasted the entire deployment and only had a little bit of the rubber handle worn off, but I keep that strapped onto my pack, the waistband for my pack. And that way, regardless of where I am, I know where that knife is and I can draw it into a defensive posture pretty quick. It's a really, really easy thing to do. And for $10, you can practice with those and then get your super fancy knife that you want to go survive with. Practice with the cheap ones because you're going to drop them.
Yep. That's actually a really good call. Yeah. I actually did find one other, my honorable mention is a knife called Doom Blade. And if you look that up on Amazon, Doom Blade, but it's not super utility because it is kind of a karambit style. But I was thinking exactly what you just said, where would be a great knife for just kind of practicing how a karambit works, because it does kind of angle away from your hand, unlike a normal knife. So Doom Blade is another one. I'll put that up there. That was an under $10 knife. And it's just kind of not super ergonomic because it had like it's got like a saw blade on the back, which was kind of funny, but it is a karambit style. And I would put that as an honorable mention for a $10 knife. And that's actually a really good point, Chris, that having a knife of that style as a practice knife. If you are going to buy the $60 or $70 or $100 knife, having the inexpensive version of that same knife to practice with, because yeah, you're going to drop it, you're going to run it into hard things, you're going to break the tip off, you're going to pry bar, chisel, or punch with it. So yeah, that's a good.
And that's one of those things where, maybe the Doom knife is not your prepper child's first knife.
Right.
Maybe it's
sure.
the Imperial, but
Yeah.
it's something that you've got a lot of flexibility with. And continuing on down our list, you went to Amazon and found a whole bunch of stuff on Amazon.
Yep.
I found some things on Amazon, but I actually went to Walmart
Oh,
and
okay.
found items that are under $10. And I kind of broke them up into, I guess, categories. So went down the sporting goods aisle, and some of the things that I came across, I love them. Carabiners and tie downs. Several different options for them depending on how many preppers are on your list or how fancy you want to get. They are available in the sporting goods section, so you don't have to wait for delivery to verify if you got the correct one. You can look at the packaging, you can see the load capacity, etc. And all of the ones that I found are under $10. My wife and I actually picked a few different options up for this list just this past weekend, so we do actually have them in our preps. If you find one, it's called a CamJam, CamJam. So Charlie Alpha Mike, Juliet Alpha Mike, and then the CamJam XT or X-Ray Tango. Those are actually pretty cool. They're a single point attachment for securing cargo, and it's got a little cam inside it that wraps around paracord, and it tightens as you apply and pull harder. That pull strength keeps that cam tighter. So when you pull on the weight side, it locks down even more. And the XT had like an 800-pound capacity or something on it before it would snap.
How many do you get? This is just, you get one of these things. How much were they? They were $10 a piece?
The CamJam XTs, those were like $10 a piece. The normal CamJam, I want to say they were around $5-ish.
Okay.
But your 550 cord will break before those single point tie downs.
Oh, wow.
And because you're using 550 or paracord for your length of rope instead of a normal ratchet strap, you don't have to worry about finding more ratchet straps, stripping them down, putting that 1 inch, matching it up, and you get a weak point and all of that. You just have however much 550 you've got. And then another thing that we found was, it's a brand called Night Eyes.
I know them. Yeah, sure. I used to buy their, they have little like carabiner lights for the dog collar.
Yep.
Yeah.
They make keychains, they make dog collar
Yeah.
tags, they make light up collars. We have a couple of those in our camping kit, but it's NITEIZE, Night Eyes. They make gear ties and gear tie loopables, which we had never seen the loopables before this past weekend. They're a clever little gear tie that it's rubberized, it's weatherproof, and it's stiff enough to actually support some weight, like a lantern or something to that effect. They've got a metal wire core that's wrapped in this rubber coating, so it doesn't mark up your gear and it doesn't slice your fingers even if it's cold. So it's think of almost like a bread bag tie,
Mm-hmm.
but far more durable and longer. And we actually use them to secure our barbecue box outside. We keep our extra charcoal and our extra smoking chips and things like that outside in a bin, and we secure that lid from raccoons and possums and other critters. We use one of these and just shove it through the little hole and spin it once, and it's tight.
And the raccoons with their cute little hands, they can't undo that thing?
I think it's too stiff for them
Oh, wow.
because they've got a little bit of tension on them. I've never had
that's awesome.
problems with it. They do come in several different colors and lengths, so there's plenty of options. If you've got somebody who likes blue or orange, you can get their favorite color. You can get a variety pack of lengths, whatever suits your budget. The loop back version, it's got one end that is it actually has a plasticized loop in it. So the narrow end can pass through it, like if you were putting it over a tree branch, and then you can pull down on it and make a hook out of it. And that's how you can hang your lanterns or bear bags from tree branches, rafters, just about anything that it can fit around. And you just kind of pull it tight to suspend things. They're really, really kind of ingenious. They're a great buy for under $10, in my opinion.
Awesome. Okay, I'll check those out.
I did also find Ozark Trail, if you're familiar with that brand. Ozark Trail is kind of specific to outdoors camping gear, but they do make paracord with carabiner. It's a basic 30-foot section of high visibility paracord, 550 cord, but it was bright yellow, bright orange, and bright pink were the versions that I saw. And it has a carabiner included. So if you want to spend $20 on your favorite prepper, if you pair that with the Cam Jam setup, they have a functioning ratchet strap up to 30 feet long, which is usually way more than is needed to actually secure something to the roof rack, the trailer, the tree, the doorknob, whatever. And you can get pretty creative with your applications. I'm always appreciative of a new beaner in my loadout. I probably have 30 or so carabiners on my climbing harness alone. They make great key rings, hookups, fidget toys. I do play with them. I lock and unlock the spinning ones all the time. But this is another thing where if you go with this option, especially if you go with that paracord and carabiner combo and give that as a gift to your favorite prepper, they can clip the carabiner onto something and then practice knots. And that's something that is so often forgotten about, is your actual field skills. Do you use a timberline hitch? Do you use a square knot? Do you use a half hitch? Do you use a double hitch? What is a miller's knot? All sorts of stuff like that you can actually practice and get good at on this little 30-foot paracord with a carabiner.
Yeah, and we talked about this a lot, that it doesn't matter what you buy, you need to know how to use it, right? You have to have those skills. So that's actually a really cool idea that, yeah, the carabiner with the length of paracord, and then you can practice your knots on it. So if you took that Ozark paracord carabiner thing and then put it together with one of those Cam Jams, you would pull it and then say, that ain't going nowhere, right?
100%.
Yeah,
it's not moving.
Then you know, yeah, exactly. That's how, that's any red-blooded American. That's how you know it's not going anywhere. You gotta kind of tug on it and say it's not going anywhere.
That's how the bodies get loaded into the trailer. Okay,
that's exactly. That's exactly. It's not going anywhere. So the other cool one, everybody likes fire, right? Every prepper likes fire. Man, make fire.
Somebody gave me fire.
Somebody gave me fire. So lighters, and obviously we always hear people say, just go grab the 5-pack of Bics. That's not really cool. I mean, unless like your 5-year-old prepper is a heavy smoker. But the torch lighters, I really like. These things are, it's like the size of a giant Sharpie, and you cannot put that thing out. They take butane, they're refillable, and I use these all the time just for starting fires. And they're not just for smoking crack, although I think you find them in the crack smoking section of like the local store, like the convenience store. But they're awesome. I use torch lighters. I want to say like a good one on Amazon, these little torch lighters that really have a solid pressurized fuel flame coming out of them. They're probably 2 for $10. I use these all the time. Like that's the lighter in my pocket around the house. Like I do a lot of burn piles and things like that where maybe you're lighting things that are slightly wet. These things are awesome. So these torch lighters that are kind of, like I said, maybe it's like kind of like the size of a cigar. It's got a push button and you can refill them with butane.
But you're not just going to get that smolder at the bottom of your burn pile. It's actually going to catch fire.
Oh, this thing is hot. So I like those. The other one, this is one that I don't know if a lot of people know of. Now, obviously, I do like Zippo. That's a solid American brand. But Chris, you probably know this, that the one thing that sucks about Zippo lighters is anytime you want to use them, they are out of fuel.
Yes.
Like every time that kerosene in there evaporates. They're not sealed. There is a company, and I don't know how it's pronounced. I want to say it's Oopee or something. It's Uoopee. and they're a kerosene lighter, like a Zippo style of lighter. But these things are so small. They're smaller than half the size of a AA battery. And what makes them cool is they have a little screw-on cap rather than like the flippy Zippo thing, right? And that's got an O-ring in it. So this little lighter, this is like my daily carry lighter. This thing's tiny. You don't know you have it. I swear to God, it's the half the size of a stick of chapstick. But you unscrew the top, and when you need it, you light it, and it goes every time. And similar to a Zippo, when you light it, it keeps going. It doesn't go out. It's not a safety lighter where you have to keep holding the button down. So that's what I really like about this thing. And it's got a base, so you could light this and set it somewhere, and you've got a little pocket candle. But I like these. They're everything you like about a Zippo and none of the things you hate about a Zippo. And they're cheap. These are, I want to say, I just bought them. It might have been a Black Friday special, but I just bought it on Amazon for 3 for $10. But normally, I think they're $6 a piece. And so I literally just went and bought 3 more of these on a deal because that's my go-to daily lighter. It's goes on a keychain. You never notice that you have it till you need it. And it's this very cool little lighter. I don't know how long they go for because, like I said, the reservoir on them can't be very big. It's a tiny amount of kerosene.
I like the idea though, because it's stormproof, it's windproof. You're not going to have difficulty lighting a fire. You've got it right there, and it's small enough and compact enough. You can attach it to your keys, and as long as you've got your keys, it's on you.
That's it, and it lights every single time. Unlike a Zippo, every time you need a Zippo, you can't light it because you forgot to fill it up last time, right?
Yep. Yep.
So anyway, lighters are cool. Those are my two recommendations. The torch style lighters, those are really cool. Everybody needs those. And then this little one, I'll put a link to it. But yeah, Oopie, I think, or I don't know how you would say UOO. I don't know how you'd pronounce that in the English language, but I want to say like Yoopie, maybe. But yeah, so UOOPEE, this little kerosene lighter. It's everything you like about a Zippo, none of the stuff you hate about a Zippo, and it's like literally 10% the size of a Zippo. They're awesome.
I wonder if it's pronounced Yoopie, and like from the upper Michigan Peninsula, the Yoopers.
Oh, the Yoopers. Yeah, Yoopies. Oh, yeah, Yoopie. Hey, oh, yeah, baby. You got some pasta and smoked meat sass and a Yoopie lighter. That was my best stuff from Peninsula. I'm sorry, anybody. That's probably more Minnesota, but that's all I got. I have a non-regional dialect, okay? I'm sorry.
That's all right. We got the Russian a couple of episodes ago. We got the UP.
We're going, it's Chinese and UP this episode is all you get. So anyway, what else do you have?
Well, along those same lines of staying warm and having fire, some things I was able to find for under $10 at Walmart again. Emergency survival tents, like those Mylar emergency reflective shelters. I think they were under $5. I was able to find stormproof matches and Go Fire brand fire starter blocks.
Sure, yeah.
So they're about the size of a sugar cube. You just toss one of those in and light the wrapping on fire, and it becomes your fire starter. I was able to find some mid-weight and lightweight thermal gloves and neck gaiters for under $10. I even found this was kind of cool. I found a 20-liter dry bag to keep your more sensitive equipment, your electronics, your matches, your fire starting material. A 20-liter dry bag that will keep all of that stuff safe and dry while you're on the move in the rain. It's
for $10?
Yeah, for I think it was $9.88.
Well, now is it one of the rollover top closure ones? Is that what it is? Like rollover and the clip closure?
It was a seal, like a Ziploc sandwich bag, and then it had the rollover as well. So it was actually pretty well built.
That's awesome.
It's not gonna hold up to a full, a complete fall down the side of a mountain. Sure. It's not gonna do anything for you there, but you probably shouldn't be dropping your stuff down the side of a mountain. But
sure.
It's certainly going to keep your stuff from getting soaked if you take a bad step off of a curb and end up on your back in a little stream or something like that.
Sure. Now, one thing I would say for dry bags, this is a hack, and I keep a dry bag in my get home bag, and not necessarily because I need to keep a lot of stuff dry, but a dry bag makes a very good impromptu float. If you need to get across a waterway, you can fill a dry bag up with water and seal it, and you've got some amount of neutral buoyancy that you can use as a little mini life preserver to get you across the water.
Interesting. Or I suppose you could blow into it with air and then seal it, and
That's
you've
exactly
got
right.
something that
Yep.
could actually help keep you
Yep.
elevated.
And
I
you can
like
even
that.
you can even put some gear in it, like put your cell phone in it, anything that's electronic, not a ton of weight, but you can put some of your gear in it and then fill it with air, seal it up. And you can use that neutral buoyancy as a little mini life preserver to, put your hand over it and paddle yourself across the water. I read somewhere that in order for the human body to float, you only need it's like 6 pounds of neutral buoyancy. It's like not a lot. You don't need 200 pounds of neutral buoyancy to float a 200-pound human. It's not that much. The ones that the ones the cops use, like the water cops on their life jacket or on their bulletproof vests, they're like a little blow up kidney bean, and they literally have 6 or 8 pounds of neutral buoyancy, and they will float a cop with all his gear just enough to keep his head above water. So you don't need that much. A dry bag is a perfect example of that, where you could fill that up, load it up there, seal it, and you could get yourself across the waterway if you needed to.
I never thought of that, but yeah, because people are mostly made of water. It's just the bones and the other, meat machine stuff
You
that
don't
you
need a
have to
lot of
offset.
buoyancy. Yep, that's exactly
So
right.
I like that.
Yep.
Staying on the topic of keeping warm, and this is something super underrated in my opinion. We have a ton of them, but throw blankets, and now is the season that you're going to see these at Walmart. You can shove them under the seat of your car for emergencies. You can tuck them into your go bag for warmth if you have to bug out. You can even just bundle up on the couch and keep your utility bill down over the season because they are pretty warm. But you can actually get 2 fleece throat blankets for $10 at Walmart. They come in multiple patterns, colors. I think my wife picked up one that had dog bones and candy canes on it. And we found them in the big bins between the electronics and the sporting goods sections. That's going to depend on your Walmart where they are. They might be in the clothing section or something like that.
Walmarts are not set up like the Waffle House, obviously.
They are not.
Not all Walmarts are created equal.
We probably have 15, 16 of those running around the house between us and the dogs and our preps. They're super, super warm, very,
Yep.
very underrated. My favorite is my dinosaur glow in the dark fleece throw.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
So-
but obviously that's, the throw blankets, those are awesome. Now, how big the $5 throw blanket, how big was that when it was all folded out?
I want to say it's 4 feet by 5 feet. It might be a little narrower.
It's big though. That's good
it's-
size.
It's enough to wrap around your feet. 2 of them cover me, and I'm 6'3", so
Sure.
I don't have a problem there.
Sure. Awesome. So, all right. In my next one, multi-tools. And, you're not going to find a lot of multi-tools under $10, except maybe that knockoff Leatherman. I think, Chris, you probably found a decent kind of knockoff Leatherman tool for under $10. But my go-to for the multi-tool under $10, this is what I would say, is in that category, there's 2. CRKT, which is Columbia River Knife and Tool. You probably know that brand. I think people call it Cricket or something,
Cricket.
right? But yeah, Cricket.
Yep.
That's Columbia River Knife and Tool, right? So they have something called a William defense key. And this is not like the Williams key we talked about, the fire pick. This thing looks like a car key. It has a Phillips screwdriver on the end, but it kind of sits in between your two middle fingers like a brass knuckle, almost like a punch. And you can get these right through TSA. This is like an EDC through TSA thing. It goes on your keychain. It looks like a car key. It's got a plastic coated end where the handle would be, but it just looks like a car key with a little T handle almost. But it has a couple other features in it, like it's got this screwdriver at the end of it too. So that's one, the Cricket William defense key. That's under $10.
It'll ventilate somebody if needed be.
If you need to ventilate something, it would ventilate. That's exactly right. Now the other one I would go to is these little pocket pry bars, and you can get these all over the place. If you look at pocket pry bar on Amazon, you'll you'll find a ton of these, the 2 for $20 type thing. I like having this because like I said, I am a pocket knife guy, and you always are tempted to use your very nice pocket knife as a pry bar, chisel, or punch. And every single pocket knife says on the side, do not use as a pry bar, chisel, or punch. So having that other tool that does the rest of that mission for you in your pocket at all times. I have a handful of different sizes. I've got a nice one that was way more than $10 that is made out of titanium, but it looks like a little mini pry bar, and that's all it is. Some of them have a flat edge that you can use for a Phillips or for a flathead screwdriver, but they're under $10. Look up the pocket pry bar on Amazon. You'll find these. It's an awesome gift for somebody, especially if somebody is a pocket knife person, because you don't want to break the tip off of your super nice pocket knife when you're just trying to pry something open that won't give. So the pocket pry bar is like my multi-tool companion. And, I did find I think you can get one with the Kershaw brand on it for under $10 that's kind of like a pry bar / bottle opener. And Kershaw's a good brand. So that was like the cheapest thing Kershaw made, was this $10 kind of half pry bar, half bottle opener thing. But that's another thing I would recommend. Obviously, going with the name brand recognition is kind of cool. But check out the pocket pry bars for $10. That would be a cool gift for me, because I'm a pocket knife guy, but I don't want to use my pocket knife for some of those kind of pry and open missions.
I 100% understand that. And I did find one, again, it's Ozark Trail. They do make a 17-in-1 multi-tool. It's got the knife blade, the saw blade, a fish scaler, bottle opener, a can opener, flathead, Phillips screw heads, and a leather punch, some other stuff. Just kind of along the lines of that $10 limit. Be aware it's not going to be the highest quality option, but for $9.88, it's not a terrible option for last minute, or if you've got a office Christmas party or something like that you want to have a nice gift for under your budget. I did find some pretty cool pens. So if you go on Amazon, you can find tactical, and my wife actually found a construction-related multi-tool pen. So it was kind of set up like a straight edge. It had a straight edge. It had multiple different rulers on it. It had a bottle opener, flashlight, the micro tools for fixing small stuff. But it was a pen that was set up like a triangle straight edge that you would do drafting with. So bright orange or bright yellow. And you can find tactical pens that have different tools on them. They are available for under that $10 limit. It just kind of depends on how high of quality you want to go. But
sure,
definitely some options out there.
We'll have to put some links. The one more I had, I only got 2 others left, but my last one's a big one. This one, flashlights. Flashlights are cool. Everybody likes a good flashlight, and it's kind of easy to get sucked into the minutia of the flashlight. I don't know how much this one costs normally. I think it was a Black Friday deal, but I did see it under $10 at a lot of places, is the Olight Mini, which Olight is a real brand. That's a cool brand. They make some weapons lights as well. But what I like about their Olight Mini, and I think it's called the iMini 2, it's their EDC flashlight. One, it's rechargeable. So if it is a little over $10, I'm sorry, but you don't have to buy the battery. So I'm going to call it a wash. That's a very cool light. The one thing I like about this is it's USB rechargeable. And so there's a little USB thing that plugs into your computer, and the Olight Mini plugs into that. And then you pull the Olight Mini out, and you've just got this USB thing sitting there that's not always in your pocket. So it's kind of a 2-piece. So it's USB rechargeable. It's got its own battery inside. And the back of this, when it's not being charged, is magnetic. So a little tiny light, like barely bigger than a CR123 battery, but it's got a magnet. So you can turn this thing on and, put it under the car hood, or, put it on the safe when you're trying to work or something like that. So I really like that. This Olight Mini, like I said, I saw it under $10, but it may be a couple bucks more than that, because that could have been like a Black Friday deal. But that's a really good one. The one other thing I did find on Amazon is, you've probably seen these beanies with the LED in it, right? Just the little beanie cap that's got an LED built in.
Yep.
They
They're
have
pretty
one.
awesome.
They're cool. This one is, I actually had to order this. It hasn't shown up yet, but it looked really cool. They have a unisex LED beanie. I think if you just Google that unisex LED beanie with light, you'll find it on Amazon. But the LED itself that goes in the middle of the beanie, it actually comes out and is USB rechargeable. So rather than disassembling your beanie, trying to figure out where they shove the stupid batteries, just this little LED portion pops out of the beanie. You can use that light separately, and it plugs in and recharges via USB. It just seemed like a really cool idea I hadn't seen before, and it was a flat LED, so not like this big chunky thing in the front of your forehead. It was like a flat LED that kind of clipped into this beanie. I thought that was really cool. So I'm excited to get that, but it has not shown up yet.
I might have to get those even if they aren't on Black Friday sale. They
Look
sound
cool.
really,
And
really neat.
I think they had a number of different colors, and one of them is always $10. But check that out. Yeah, we'll put a link to it. But yeah, it's just the Amazon. It's not an Amazon brand, but it was the first one that showed up in their search. I was really impressed with it.
I'm digging it. Last few items before we get into our pretty awesome news. I did find Life Straws, like legitimate name brand Life Straw
Life
at
Straw?
Walmart.
Life Straw branded Life Straws
Yes,
for $10.
$9.97,
Wow.
and they were not on sale. It was not any sort of Black Friday or anything. It was $9.97. So they are definitely out there, and they do qualify for this list. And along those same lines of kind of cooking, food, water, I did find an Ozark Trail brand mess kit. It had a small pot, pan, a lid, and a plate. They're all stainless steel, and they kind of pack into each other. It's not the lightest or the quietest option, but it certainly needs to be considered for your favorite prepper or outdoorsman.
So not like for the backpacking, but definitely for the vehicle, maybe like the
Vehicle
camping kit. Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily go as far as climbing or backpacking, certainly not backcountry with
Sure.
them, but
Yep.
they'll get the job done. You can also get what we carry when we go camping is we have a bunch of collapsible bowls. I found 2 packs of 32-ounce bowls that are that stiff, rubberized, heat-resistant material, the silicone, and they're pretty easy cleaning. It was a 2-pack of 32-ounce bowls for $5.97. And like I said, we use those when we go camping. We actually have different colored ones for us versus the dogs, so we don't mix up the dog food bowls and start eating dog food for dinner.
Good idea.
They're light, they're quiet, they're actually pretty tough. I actually found a legit 10.5-inch cast iron skillet for under $10, which is something that you and I learned from Andrew can be used for all kinds of dinners in an austere environment if need be.
Sure. Yeah. $10, a true $10 cast iron skillet. That's awesome. Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's brand new, not on sale. If you've got somebody in your gift list that is a gamer in your family or whoever, you can always tell them it's the pan from PUBG, and you can get a laugh out of how they use it because they'll walk around whittling it on their ass.
Also a weapon, by the way.
Yes.
Right? A great impromptu weapon. I mean, yeah, if anybody who's seen a Lifetime movie, you know that the cast iron skillet is a great weapon.
Yes, and when it gets hooked, it's moving.
Yep.
It's
of
also
mass.
heat-seeking, apparently. But lastly, I did find Mountain House camping and survival meals in a wide variety of flavors for under $10. So if nothing else, you can give your favorite prepper one more meal to add to their collection. Bonus points if you give them a dessert. And then this is on Amazon, so they do make flat measuring spoons for baking. They're kind of unique because they fold into different sized triangles for what you're trying to measure.
Oh.
But if you're trying to do something with, homegrown, home ground flour and making bread, those are great because they pack down super, super flat, and they're pretty universal when it comes to their sizing.
What about measuring gunpowder? Are they that granular? Can you get grains out of them?
I don't know that anything is quite that granular. You could try it.
Just loading them a little hot. It's fine.
just a lot of bit hot.
That sounds cool. I'm going to check those out because I hadn't seen that yet, but I like that, the breakdown measuring spoon. So, Chris, are you ready for the exciting stuff? Do you want to get excited?
I'm super amped for this part.
I'm in an 11. I'm going to take it to a 14 pretty quick here. But so check this out. Like, we've talked about our friends at Grim Workshop before, right? Grim Tools, they're awesome. They make it's basically a survival card is what they call them. They're about the size of a credit card. That's their bread and butter. And they have all kinds of break-off tools. And what I really like about these ones, because there are some knockoff survival cards you see all over Amazon. What I like about Grim, one, they're made in the USA. That's awesome. The other thing I like about them is they're actually kind of like 3D printed. Like all of the tools, like the knives that are in their cards, actually have like a planed blade. So I think they might be like laser etched. But anyway, Grim does an amazing job. And they have given us, specifically for our listeners, a 10% discount code for anything on their website. And I'm telling you, Grim, these guys, Grim, they are awesome. They've been great to deal with. They build a quality product in America. We'll put it on our website, but our code is prepping. Simply the code prepping when you check out, 10% off. It helps us out a little bit. It legitimizes us. It helps Grim out. That's a company I want to support. But if you haven't seen their tools, these things are awesome. All of them have like a permanent sticky back on them, so you can put them on something like an admin panel. But then the inside, where the tools sit, you can break these little tools off and then put them back on this semi-adhesive, permanent adhesive, kind of like the stuff that sticky notes, like a permanent Post-it note type thing. So you can always put these tools back on the card when you use them. Now, they're credit card tools. They're more expensive. They're maybe $20 usually. But for the smaller tools, they've got two smaller size tools. They have one that's a dog tag tool, and they have one that is called, I just think they call it their mini tools, their micro tools. But these are awesome. The vast majority of all their dog tag size tools and micro tools are under $10. So they have like fire starting tools, like a legit piece of ferro rod or magnesium on there. They've got mini wrench tools, like a bunch of different sizes of hex wrenches and screwdrivers. They've got fishing tools. They have small bushcraft tools like snare triggers or deadfall trap triggers. They have some medical tools, and they also carry other brands on their website, like Write in the Rain, the notebooks that you can write on when they're wet. They actually, I saw under $10, they have a little mini waterproof case, like a little Pelican style case right now, under $10, which I thought was really cool. But also some other cooler stuff like lock picks and bottle openers and can openers. The dog tag ones are really cool because you can take 3 of these dog tag tools and put them inside a single dog tag silencer and then wear them all together stacked. So if you're like the prepper that's running out of places to shove prepping gear on your body, this is a good one. You can stack up some of these things, and I will tell you that 3 of their tools stacked up together, these dog tag size ones, I have not been stopped through TSA yet. Now, if you took one and maybe it has something that looks like a blade on it, I can imagine in the X-ray it might look like that. But they are small. When you stack them up, it's just a stack. It looks like a stack of overlapping metal. I've never had one stopped. I've taken it off of my neck. I've put it in the TSA tray. I've gone right through with it. I have not been stopped yet. So that's a very cool EDC through TSA thing. Now, most of their little tools, like their micro tools and their dog tag tools, they're made to have like 550 cord wrapped around them, or like fishing line or thread, because they have a sewing tool, those kinds of things. Now, what I like to do with these is double them up, especially even rather than wearing that, I don't know what that's called. Maybe you know what it's called, Chris. What's the chain called that you wear your dog tag on? That kind of material, the little balls that looks like a rosary. Do you know what that stuff is called?
I'm
Does
trying
it
to
even
think
have a
of.
name? It might not have a name.
I know when I was in the army, it had a specific nomenclature because
It
that was one of
does.
my board questions from when I got promoted, but I
No
can't remember
kidding.
it now.
So it is called something, but rather than using that little bally chain thing, because that's not very utilitarian to me, I will use like a 550 cord as the necklace. But this is another $10 Amazon find. There's this stuff out there called 4-in-1 paracord, and this is basically it's the prepper's 550 cord. It is not, the mil spec mil C 5040 550 cord. It looks like 550 cord, but when you pull the inner strands out, it's very cool. There's 7 standard 550 cord inner strands you can use for all kinds of cool stuff. But then there are 3 other strands in there. One of them is a fishing line with a 40-pound test. One of them is like a candle wick, so it's like a fire starter fishing line.
Okay.
And one of them is cotton sewing line. So you can use this kind of 550 cord on steroids. Just if you look at Amazon, just look for 4-in-1 paracord. And I want to say a 25-foot length of this stuff is under $10. And you can do all kinds of cool stuff with this. By having just say like, a 25-foot length of this, you've got a ton of fire starter, you've got the cotton sewing line for all of your Grimm sewing tools, and you've got 25 feet of fishing line for all of your Grimm fishing tools. So I would use this 550 cord, this 4-in-1 550 cord, in conjunction with my Grimm tools. And you can do all kinds of cool stuff with that. So if you look at these guys, look at Grimm, I want to say it's grimmworkshop.com, but they have an under $10 section. They have a $10 stocking stuffer section, and it's like 10 pages of stuff. It's all kinds of cool things. So we'll post a link to their stuff. But even little forks and eating tools and arrowheads and bypass tools for locks. And they actually have a really cool dog tag one that is a self-defense one. And I have gotten that through TSA. I hope no one from TSA is listening. I'm sorry. But it's basically like the size of a dog tag, and you break off the end of it, the perforated end, and it's got like a little arrowhead in it, and you put your knuckle through it. So it's kind of like that. What would you call them? The patty cat?
Yep.
It's kind of like that, but it's just for one finger. You could mess something up with one of these. So check out Grimm. Use our code PREPPING, and you'll get 10% off at Grimm. These guys, they just do such a great job. And trying to find something under $10 made in the United States is basically impossible anyway. So they have all this made in America tool, and they're really well built. I will stand behind these guys in saying that I have bought some of the Grimm knockoff tools on Amazon, and it's just a different caliber of product. The Grimm stuff, like I said, they are 3D where they need to be. So the plain blades, the edges of the plain blades, where you actually have a real blade rather than just like a chunk of metal that's shaped like a knife. So anyway, really excited about that. Really excited for us to be kind of ambassadors for Grimm. We've got a coupon code with them now. You can get 10% off. So check those guys out. We'll put links to all this stuff. But again, really like them. And then pairing that with my last $10 item, which would be 25 feet of this 4-in-1 paracord, you can do all kinds of stuff. You can take over the world with some Grimm cards in this 550 cord. So that's my exciting one. Are you going to beat me? Are you going to do something more exciting than what I just said?
I don't know. That's tough to beat because I will say the Grimm, they make fantastic stuff. They have always been more kind of bushcraft centered.
Yeah, that's right.
And
yeah.
we're really their first sponsorship that is prepping focused, which is why they gave us that code. So
Right. I was thinking that, the code is prepping because they don't, there is kind of prepping and bushcrafting has always been very parallel, right? And I think that it is kind of time to bridge that gap. Now, keep in mind, there are the preppers in the world that think they're just going to like walk off into the hills with a bushcraft knife and a case of MREs and they're going to live forever. It's
good luck.
That's not, I'm going to find a very nice bushcraft knife in the hills when that happens. But I think there are a lot of those bush crafty skills that you and I would both like to explore more. And Grimm does a great job of kind of that, the Fisher Price My First Bushcraft set. They do some really cool bushcrafty tools. Now, one thing I would say, if you're buying some $10 stocking stuffers for everybody, you can buy their set of, I don't know, maybe it's like 12 different dog tag tools, and you get a deal on them. Those $10 tools, I think for 12 of them, it was like $80 maybe, or $90. So you get a deal on them. And then you could use our code prepping and get another 10% off. So you could get all of these, and you're into them for like $7 or $6 a piece or something at that point. So that's actually a very cool deal, for that last minute stocking stuff. For these the Grimm tools, they're cool, they're reusable. Everybody I've given one to has said, wow, I have not heard of these, but this is a very cool thing. I've got to buy these for my friends or my kids, or, these would make great stocking stuffers. So anyway, check out Grimm.
Yes, Grimm is awesome. See, you went the bushcraft prep way. I went the escape and evasion route.
Oh, you're James Bond in this exercise.
Yes.
So what do you got?
I will take it. So I actually looked at Schomer Tech.
Again, my boys from episode 5. I've got a ton of Schomer Tech gear for my EDC through TSA. They've all kinds of escape and evasion stuff. Yeah, I love those guys too.
I was looking through some of their under $10 stuff. They make a ceramic folding razor knife, which
own it. Got it. It's in the kit.
Ceramic. It's not going to set off metal detectors or anything like that. They've got, they call it their bare minimum handcuff keys. They're undetectable. They're hard plastic. They can actually be sewn into clothing, like into your belt loop or into the little itty bitty shirt pocket tail thing that you've got out front.
Oh yeah.
They make what's called escape capsules, and they look like vitamin supplements, but you can carry stuff in them. So if you have
like cyanide pills.
Well, I don't know about that kind
you
of
weren't going there, were you?
you can actually carry stuff in what looks like a vitamin supplement.
Oh, cool.
One of their coolest things that I'm going to have to get some of these, it's called their GTFO, or Get the Fuck Out Escape Bracelet 2.0.
Dude, that was in episode 5. I've got one. I'm wearing one right now. That is the little handcuff key with the little glass breaker thing.
As a fidget toy, I'm going to smack myself in the wrist plenty of times with that. But if I ever have to get out,
it will fuck you up.
Get out of a vehicle, yes, it's going to break that window.
Yeah.
You just pull back on the little bead like a slingshot and put your fingers against the glass and then just release it, and it shatters that window.
Yep. Yeah, it's tungsten.
They actually have what they call their Impact Karambit. It's a non-lethal trainer and defense tool. So if you are going to get into karambit style knives, you can mess with them without, missing fingers or anything like that. But it is a defense tool that, because it's kind of nondescript, it just looks like a part of something else. You can actually get that through TSA in most cases.
Is that the one that's like, it's hard polycarbonate, like it looks like an impact tool?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So it's kind of double duty. Yeah, that's great.
It's enough to pop somebody's orbital bone for sure, or jack up their jaw. Along the same lines that you found on Amazon with that 4-in-1 paracord, I actually found they have Kevlar survival cord that you can get 25 feet for $4, or you can get 60 feet on a spool for $9. They've got their micro escape tool. It's a wide variety of situations that you can be using that in without detection. So kind of your ultimate E&E tool. They've got the MacGyver style pen cap handcuff key. So it's just a pen, right? Well, not anymore. You can be MacGyver and use that cap to escape handcuffs, pick the lock and go. I really like their undercover bracelet. It's kind of like the old school gummy bracelets that we saw in the 90s, but it's actually got that polycarbonate handcuff key built into it. And then one of the other cool things that I found under $10 is called the Zip Stash. And it just looks like any other hoodie. You attach it to your pull zipper, and it contains all of your information inside of this small little capsule. I
Oh.
want to get one of those for travel just to have it because, key or car key can possibly fit in there. If you've got notes or important information on you, it just looks like a normal hoodie pull. And to make this one even a little bit better, we actually have a code that you can use for Schomer Tech. So it is a little time sensitive. You have 10 days remaining on this code because it does expire on 12/25/24. But if you go to Schomer Tech, which is SHOMER-TEC, and we'll have a link on stakeholderprepping.com.
Mhm.
But if you use code PC24, so Papa Charlie 24, all caps at checkout, you're going to get 10% off your entire order through Christmas.
So that's only good through Christmas.
Only good through Christmas. So this
Get
one
after it now.
is time sensitive, but
Okay.
10% off, and they have some phenomenal stuff. Not everything they have is under $10, but they've got a big list of stuff that is.
But this code's good for everything on the website, right?
Absolutely.
I'm using it. I'm going there right now. That's awesome. There's so much stuff on there. I get in a rabbit hole on Schomer Tech because it is, you start thinking that you're James Bond, right? You're looking at this shit going, oh my God, this is awesome. I need disappearing ink. Of course I do, but yeah, so I love those guys. So don't tell me it gets better. Does it get better?
It does, because guess what? We actually got some limited edition handcuff keys in Stakeholder Red from Schomer Tech, which we're going to be giving those away to a handful of listeners who email asking for it specifically. So if you have emailed us before, you
still
can do it
qualify.
again.
You can do it again. If you've already gotten the can opener and the free homestead tickets and all the other cool stuff, we will still give you some handcuff keys. Now, these are, at first I thought they might be 3D printed, but they're not. I think they are injection molded maybe, but they're pretty tough plastic. They're tiny, they're undetectable. And I don't want to be an alarmist because, like I've said this before, like I don't plan on being in handcuffs. But I also wear my seatbelt, and I don't plan on getting in car accidents. So this is just one of those peace of mind things. If you happen to travel like I do, and there could be an instance where you are apprehended by no-gooders or marauders, this is a great thing to have. So, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
for sure. And I mean, you combine the handcuff key plus the P51 can opener and the homestead tickets. We're doing all of your shopping for Christmas for
We are
you. So
basically doing all of your Christmas shopping. So
I'm just
we're-
saying you got to give us props.
Oh, absolutely. We are. So, and here's the one thing I will say, if you're like me and whenever you buy something and if it's cool, you're looking at it, you're like, well, I got to buy 2 of those because I need one for me. So if you email us and you want the limited edition polycarbonate Schomer Tech handcuff key in the limited edition Stakeholder Red, keep in mind, you can't buy these, right, Chris? You can't, they're not on the website.
I don't believe they are. I think this is that limited.
If you buy one, it's black, but the ones they did specifically for some of their partners, we have the red ones. We'll give you 2. Send us an email until we are out of them. We have quite a few of them, but until we run out, anybody that emails us, we'll send you 2 because I know you want one for you, especially if you're going to give one away as a stocking stuffer. So we're doing a whole lot of your Christmas shopping for you. But yeah, send us an email. Tell us you want a limited edition Schomer Tech handcuff key in Stakeholder Red. We'll send you 2 of them. And like I said, Chris, I think I said this before in episode 5. This is one of those tools. I don't have a red one. I do now, but the black one that I have purchased from Schomer Tech, I keep that in. I have 2 different pairs of pants that have a little slit right in the back in the waistline that has enough room for a handcuff key. I keep the Schomer Tech ceramic folding knife that goes right through security and the Schomer Tech handcuff key, concealable handcuff key. I keep both of them back there because remember, those are 2 different tools. So you got to think about the zip tie situation and the handcuff situation, right?
Yes. And that's a very good point. So you may as well get one of each. We can provide you the handcuff key if you
That's right.
ask for it directly, but
Yep.
you may as well use all of the discount codes that we have been able to secure for you because If you go to Grim Workshop, code prepping, 10% off. If you go to Schomer Tech, code PC24, again, all caps, that's 10% off. And then we obviously can't forget about Contingency Medical.
Right?
If you use the code Stakeholder10, you still get $10 off. Then those are going to be more than $10, so they didn't really make our under $10
Right.
stocking stuffer list here. But that code is still active, and you can use it at any time. Stakeholder10 for Contingency Medical. We are saving you money, and next week we've got another one coming. So
We've got a cooler one coming. Well, it's not cooler, but we've got a cool one. It's definitely not as cool as these two, but we do have one coming next week as well. But yeah, you're exactly right. So this has been really fun. I'm going to have a hard time now, Chris, because we have to go and write the blog for this one with all of this stuff. So there's a lot of information here, and I want to make sure we get it all out. All the things we talked about, everything here. We got to put links to everything and make sure that not just the discount codes, but all the other stuff we talked about, that we get all this information out there. So yeah, we will obviously do Facebook posts about a lot of this stuff, but the discounts specifically, I think, will only be on stakeholderprepping.com, because I don't know if these guys want their coupon codes just out there for everybody to see. And these are specifically for our listeners. So if you don't remember that PC24 or that, prepping at Grim, we'll have those on the website. Scroll all the way down, and there will be a little section there as soon as I figure out how to make it with all of our discount code.
And be sure to join us next week, because we've got a really cool topic. We're actually going to talk about land navigation in an SHTF scenario. What happens when GPS goes down and you can't find your way to grandma's house? Well, that's where the land navigation comes in. So be sure to join us next week. And as always, remember, you are your own stakeholder.